Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of season 2. Today we have the lovely Farah. I like to take a couple of minutes at the beginning of every episode for you to introduce yourself and say a little bit about yourself. I know you in many different forms, so it's kind of difficult for me to to start and know what to talk about in terms of what you do, because you've got the hotel and you've got the books and you're very active in the community. So I'll let you tell us. I won't say anything about you, and you can tell us a bit about yourself on how you like to introduce yourself as a choice. So, hi, Farah.
Hi, Katerina. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And I'm very excited for you. And I can't believe you're already in your second season. So huge congratulations there. So yes, my name is Farah. My full name is Farah Shammas. I am the managing director of St. Raphael Resort and Marina, which, if anyone is not from Cyprus, it's a large hotel of 272 rooms and the first private marina actually in Limassol. And I'm blessed to have run this, been working there for 22 years. It's a family business that I took over from my father a few years ago, and I love it. I love what I do. And then my other side, of course, my personal side is that I'm a wife and a mother of 3 young children. My children are, at the time of recording, 4, 9, and 11 and a half. But my little one will turn 5 in the beginning of December. And I'm a passionate and quite an active vegan. I turned vegan 8 years ago. And since then, I've founded a Facebook group called Cook Vegan that took off really, really well, especially during the pandemic. And I shared daily original and new recipes that I created. I've since launched a subscription club called Farah's Club, which is a community based around the idea of supporting people to lead their happiest and healthiest life, which come hand in hand with each other. We can't be completely healthy without being completely happy, and vice versa. And there's so much that people are not aware about because we simply weren't brought up to know how to live the healthiest way. So it's been a journey for me. I'm still on that journey and I love sharing that with others. So I send out weekly blogs and newsletters. There's a platform where people can find all that information. I do master classes and in-person meetings. I am a new plant-based nutrition coach as well, but I don't practice that a lot. If somebody is interested in booking that and having the support, I do offer that, but that's obviously not my main thing, but I'm very happy to share my knowledge. And I have written 3 books, with a 4th one coming out very soon. 2 of them are children's books based for vegetarian and vegan children. I'd like to think everybody, they're applicable, especially with Noah, my little boy called Noah, is applicable to everyone because it's about bravery. And they all have plant-based recipes in the back. And then I've got 140 delicious vegan recipes as well. And I'm an international speaker. I've got my own podcast called Hotel Talk with Farah. So I do lots of different things and just love what I do. So thank you for having me on here to chat to you.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for accepting our offer to come on here. So that is exactly why I didn't know how to introduce you. All of that. Where do you begin? The reason that we wanted to do an episode with you, though, is because I know how active you are in terms of promoting healthy living. You have Seashells Healthy Living, that restaurant as well. You didn't mention that. That's an absolute, I love that place. And I know how active you are in that. I have also been to one of your presentations where you're talking about the importance of healthy living. And you are one person who inspired me. And you kind of just changed my way of thinking a lot. And that's why I wanted to have an episode with you. The one thing I wanted to focus on is I know you talk about veganism and plant-based lifestyle. Now, one thing that I learned in the presentation that I saw with you is that those are 2 different things, which I didn't know about. and I learned from you. And the reason I wanted to cover this topic was, and what I'm giving the title of this episode is raising vegan children in a non-vegan world. Now, having the opportunity to meet with so many different parents, it is something that comes up a lot, that so many people have this idea of um, what veganism is, and maybe I want to raise my children vegan, and or they want to change to veganism, or they are vegan but they're struggling to do it. There's many misconceptions about what veganism is, and I think it's very helpful to talk to somebody like you through experience of my own to kind of clarify some points. And those people who they have a negative concept in their mind of what veganism is, it helps clarify that it's not actually negative. It's not a bad thing. And for those who are vegan but are struggling, to hopefully kind of help them navigate this path a bit more. My first question to you is, you said that you've been vegan for 8 years. Um,
And I
what
was
inspired you?
pescatarian for 10 years before that. So I haven't eaten meat for nearly 2 decades, but I did eat fish for 10 years before going fully vegan.
So what
Yeah.
inspired you to make that change?
Well, firstly, I'd like to say that I'm deeply touched and very grateful that you shared that I did make a good impression of you and help change your perception a bit, because that's what I so hope that I do, even in a small way or a larger way when I do my talks and my keynotes. So I'm very happy to hear that. What inspired me to go vegan? My journey was maybe like many others, but unlike, I'd say, that the norm that we hear about, which is a lot of people, at home living their lives pretty normally, eating the average Western diet, watch a few documentaries, and then say overnight, I'm going to go vegan, with huge and wonderful ideas of saving the world and being kind to animals. Mine was a much slower journey than that. I grew up in a traditional, my mother's British, my dad's Lebanese, and I grew up in between England and Cyprus. And I very much grew up in a meat eating household. Like, if we didn't, even if we ate beans, the beans had lamb in or meat or something. And I just thought that was normal, and I was quite proud of that. And I remember being in a lecture when I was 18 for A levels, and someone was presenting vegetarianism, and I thought, what a load of rubbish. And I was so proud. I thought to be in touch with my masculine side and go and eat proper meat afterwards. And but then life presents itself to you in strange ways, and I started to become sick. I got pre-pyloric ulceration, stomach ulcers, IBS. I suffer from psoriasis, which, if anybody knows, with autoimmune disease, often flare up in times of stress, and all heavily influenced by what we eat and how we are. And nobody was there to advise me like I'm trying to do now with my club and with my own voice. And there wasn't social media then, and we barely even checked on Google actually at the time. I don't think I even had an email at one point when it started. So it was a slow process of understanding what is good to eat, what maybe does bother me, what does bother humans in general. And I think instinctually some of it I knew. I mean, I'd never eaten dairy all my life. I just never liked it. And I think deep down I knew that can't, I just always found it weird. I was like, why would you take milk from another animal and curdle it and then think it's delicious? I didn't get it. But I would say that's one of the points I was lucky on when I turned vegan, because the one thing that people do find the hardest to give up is cheese. because it is addictive.
Yes,
Um,
that's
mm.
really, it's one of my favorite things in the world, Farah.
Yeah, well, I get it. I think my mother also, and I think my mum must have been so much pregnant with me that I just came out saying never again. But
Probably why you don't want it.
yeah. But so my journey was slow. I started just becoming healthier and wiser, but not overnight, very, very slowly until I finally went pescatarian. And then I thought I'd, hit the nail on the head and was living the best life. And then I started some juicing, I started some detoxes, I started looking into it more. I then decided to do a course with E. Cornell and Colin T. Campbell for plant-based nutrition. And I realized that no, it's not that healthy to eat fish, and definitely not as regularly as pescatarians often do. So then I went plant-based for a year. So that was like say my first year of veganism, but I still wasn't committed to saying or announcing I'm vegan. I didn't want to be in that box. I was like, well, let's just see how this goes. And I felt great. And then I went fully vegan and also just adopted a fully vegan lifestyle of with everything that entails, not buying leather, making sure there's no animal products in my face creams or anything I buy or
It's a
use.
full commitment. It's a full-on
Mm,
commitment that
yeah, it
if you're
is.
looking
Yeah,
into the clothes and the makeup. So
yeah.
you've been living this lifestyle for 8 years, which means that
Hmm.
your older child, when
Yes,
she
my
was
eldest.
born,
Hmm.
you weren't vegan. So your oldest,
My first
she
two, I was pescatarian
okay.
with both pregnancy, my first two pregnancies. But I would say there was a huge difference between my first and second, which is only 2.5 years. Because in my first pregnancy, I was a pescatarian, and but not necessarily unhealthy, but not necessarily healthy. I mean, I ate a ton of sugar and um, you know, crappy chocolate bars and yeah, just actually, and I would say she was even from being in my womb one of the main influences that helped me get healthy because I craved fruit and I'd never been a fruit person and I craved it. I could have fruit, just that a huge meal of fruit, pregnant with her, and I knew she'd come out being a fruit lover, and she is. Like it's, other parents will be like, oh, don't do this, otherwise you won't get a sweetie at the end of the day. You won't be allowed ice cream. And my threat was always, to be honest, to all my children, look, if you're not going to do that, you're not going to have broccoli. And they'll go, no,
Oh,
no, we'll do it. And that will be my, yeah, you're really in trouble now. Yeah, no fruit
so
or veg
you
later.
so you have always raised your children as vegans.
So no, so I none of my children are vegan, fully vegan. So
Okay.
because my husband is not vegan. So while I went on this path, my husband has humored me and agreed with a lot of it and stuck by me and yeah, has been okay with me turning our house into a plant-based household. And I only cook vegan, hence my Facebook brand. And yeah, I got really into like nutritious meals, and that's fine. So at home, everybody eats vegan food, with the exception of um, they all eat eggs, and then maybe once a week, my husband will buy some fish and cook some fish for them. My eldest daughter, she was already maybe 3.5 when I went vegan. So she grew up with the taste, and because even when I was pescatarian, I would give her meat. So she did have the taste for it, even though not in the womb, let's say. She's very happy with her fruit and veg. But as she got older, and I'd say post COVID, where a lot of children have felt more nervous and more anxious, she did at birthday parties. She said, "Mommy, I just want to eat what everybody eats. I don't want to have something different." And I completely respect that. I'm not sure later what she'll choose, but it has been her choice, and I respect that at this point in her life, that's more important for her. She's still an extremely conscious child. She's very healthy. She's a happy little girl, and I'm very proud of her. So that's her journey. My son has been brought up, he's predominantly plant-based. He's now 9. But my husband did prefer that they eat fish because he's more worried, even though he does trust me and he knows I've studied nutrition, but he just prefers to have that flexibility as well. And there's 2 of us raising these children. I didn't have them alone. So they do eat fish. My son has voiced several times that he'd like to become vegan, but I do support his dad. And I've said, for now, Leon, you're growing, it's okay. Same thing with cheese. He'll always opt for vegan cheese, but if we're out, not always, but sometimes, and he feels like it or sees other people having it, he'll say it's okay, or I'll have that bit of pizza if there's no other option. But if there's a choice and people say, would you like a pizza with vegan cheese or cow cheese, he'll say, no, I'll have the vegan. But he's just a different character. So Leon can be at a birthday party, and if there's no vegan option, I mean, normally I do tell the parents and they're very good about doing it, but sometimes it's not there or they haven't managed. Leon's okay with not eating when I'm not there. I mean, I'm not telling him to do that. He'll just come home and say, oh, I just had French fries, and can you believe there are no vegan options? Well, that's all right. Or the cake wasn't vegan. And then he'll just eat at home, and he's always got snacks with him. And my little one is, we've got to see, like, she's not yet 5, but she, none of my kids have drunk, like, they don't drink milk or have, they all have coconut milk, soya milk, oat milk, whatever it might be. They're very much fruit and vegetable orientated. They go to school with their vegan lunch boxes or snack boxes, but she'll also have a bit of fish and some eggs from time to time. So they're more, let's say, like my husband is flexitarian or at least pescatarian. So yeah.
You said that you mentioned, because this is a huge one, this is a huge conversation. You said you mentioned to your son, it's okay, you're growing. Now, something that always comes up in this conversation when I hear parents talk about it is it okay for children to be vegan? Or should they be eating meat and fish? At what age is it okay?
So this is it's a very, very good question and very valid question. I have to clarify that if I told, and as I've said, my husband and I have a good, healthy relationship with mutual respect, and we both have to respect each other's wishes. He's been really good about understanding that at home we're all, eating vegan plant-based food, but I understand as well that he would like and just feel better for his own reasons. They're not my reasons. I don't necessarily agree with them all, but it's okay. And I think that's more important, to have a healthy family and relationship at home. So for me, I don't think my son needs to eat fish because he's growing. But my husband feels that, and if I go and tell my son, well, look, you can eat fish, but really you don't need it, and here are the facts, and completely lay it down, then that's undermining what my husband would prefer. And this has been quite a big thing as well for me to digest, probably for my husband to digest. And this is how we've come to our own solution. Other families might be different. So for Leon, he knows that he doesn't eat fish all the time. Sometimes he feels like it, and other times he'll be out and just go, no, I don't want that. I just want my beans, or I want pasta, or I want a salad, or whatever he wants. And it's also very important that children feel relaxed around food, because we also don't want to create stigmas around eating or the process of that enjoyment, and also for them to feel nervous or create future eating disorders, which can happen in various forms, not because of veganism or omnivore lifestyles. So that, I think that's also very important to bear in mind. So all the evidence is there that children and humans of any age can live their best, healthiest versions of themselves living a plant-based life. So if you can, for the most part, eat the best you can, also to sleep the best you can, try and laugh the best you can, to exercise the most you can, to move. It's not just enough to say, well, I did 1 hour of gym or badminton that I like, and the rest of the day I've been sitting at my desk or slumped on the sofa watching Netflix. No, you have to move throughout the day. Get up, go make your tea, go for a walk in the garden, whatever it might be. Take the stairs and not the elevator. Move throughout your day. So there's lots and lots of tips of living a healthier lifestyle, and eating is just one part of it, but it is a huge, huge, huge part. And our children to learn that, just like muscles have memory, you know, we want our kids to exercise when they're young, because there's no point in them being couch potatoes. And then at 15, when they're overweight and can't find a girlfriend or boyfriend, saying, okay, well, now diet. And then they get on the path of dieting for the rest of their life. Yeah. We want them to move. We want their cells, their muscles to have this memory of the default mode to be healthy, to be on recovery, to be performing at its best. And the best way is to eat healthy food. People say, well, what nutrition am I looking for? If you see food without a label, that's the whole food. You know, an apple doesn't have a label on it. A banana doesn't have a label. Nuts don't have a label. You just go for that. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. I was making, I love baking with children. I just think it's such a great activity. Keep them entertained for half an hour. They can get creative. They can make a mess. And it's just fun. And it's just nice time, I think, bonding time between parents and children. So I've got lots of recipes in my books if anyone's interested. And so we were making some muffins with Carissa. Fine, we made them, put them in the oven. And then the next day she went to her grandmother's house, my mother-in-law, who's adorable, and they made a cake. And so she had a great time. But she came back and she goes, Mama, you don't believe it. She goes, yeah, puts egg in her cakes. I mean, who does that? And she just found it like so, her facial expression when she was saying, I couldn't stop laughing. She's like, can you imagine? Like, this is crazy. And then she's like, and then I saw on YouTube, somebody else did it. What's wrong with these people? So like for her default is, what do you put when you're baking? And you put whole grain flour, you put flax seeds, you might put banana or, you know, some applesauce. You can put cacao. We just have fun, but we put oats, we put, you know, whatever you feel like, and you just have like all this fun with this stuff. And just the healthy as a default. Now, of course, they'll have sugar. You know, I wish my kids didn't have sweets, but they do. You know, they'll have their snacks and their treats, but their go-to is that. Yeah. But when people comment like, oh, but how can you decide these things for your children? Well, you know, we decide a lot for our children. We decide what school they'll go to. We decide what religion they're going to be. We decide, you know, what manners they're going to have. We decide, you know, where we're going to take them on holiday. There's an array of decisions that we take as their parents. This is just one of them. And actually, Yasmina gave the best answer once. So she was eating vegan ham. Or no, I can't remember. It was vegan cheese at school. She had a sandwich with it. Which, if you're listening, nutrition-wise, obviously it's better to have hummus or something else in it. But we, you know, mix it up. And she wanted to have a sandwich that looked like everyone else's. She was quite little at the time, maybe 4 or 5. And someone in her class commented and said, why does your cheese look different to mine? Like, yeah, you know. And so she just looked and said, listen, my mummy packed that for me, and my mummy is doing the best she can, and she's feeding me in the best way she knows to be the healthiest. And she said, what you're actually eating is a dead pig or something like that. She said, but I'm not criticizing you, because your mummy is doing the best for you. And that's what she thinks is the healthiest for you. So all of our mummies are doing their best. So don't laugh at me or criticize me. Like, this is what I'm eating. And this went around like the kids and went to their parents. And to be honest, I had so many parents call me and say, wow, good for your daughter. And, you know, I mean, I remember one was this Indian origin lady who always sends her kids in with curries. And I think maybe her kid had been told, why are you using curries? And she was like, thank you. Now my kid is feeling so much better about having different food that doesn't look like what everyone else is having food they like. You know, maybe one kid loves, I don't know what, cauliflower, or like, I don't know, any food, doesn't have to be vegan. And the other kids want to laugh at that. No, stand up for that. That's what I want to eat. It's none of your business. You know, so, and that's what my second kids book, Noah, is all about. It's called A Little Boy Called Noah. And it's about a young boy, and he's the protagonist. So he is the one that realizes on his own that the animals are put on his plate, or that we're asked to wear animals. And he didn't want to do that. And his parents were not vegan. His family was not a vegan family. And he told his family, I want to do this. And they said, okay, we'll embrace that and we'll try it with you. And they felt better. And then kids did laugh at him at school, but he explained to them, and some didn't listen and some did, but he was proud of his name. And I always say this, okay, I chose Noah for this character because I like the name, but also then he could identify with Noah's Ark and Noah who saved animals. But I say this not just to children and my children, but to adults. I have friends who've battled with depression or, have their own hurdles in life. And I always say, know your name, like be proud of who you are. You are your name. You are yourself. Know who you are, be proud of that, and keep on moving and stand up for it. And so I hope a little boy called Noah, yes, it is based around the concept of veganism, but it could be based around anything. It could be based around any morals, any set of beliefs. And that boy stood up for them, and how he convinced others, or how he explained to others his beliefs. So I hope the book is applicable to, I've had the feedback from many people who don't follow vegan lifestyles just saying, thank you, this was good for our child, because they felt more confident after reading it. So that's
I
the
love
idea.
that. I haven't read Noah. I have Theo the pig.
Yeah, Theo the
Theo the
pig.
pig. My Theo loves that book.
Oh, yeah,
He
lots
was
of
so
boys would
excited. It's
do
called
it.
Theo the pig. Theo was.
Theo. I love the
Yeah.
name Theo.
Oh,
Well,
I
that's why I
haven't
called it
seen
Theo the pig.
Noah.
Yeah, Noah's more. Yeah, Noah.
Oh, I'll have to get
I'd
Noah.
say Theo the pig. That's my labor of love because I illustrated that myself. But that um, Theo the pig is definitely more catered for vegetarian and vegan children.
Yeah.
I think non-vegan and vegetarian children can read it, but the parents have to be aware that there's a big chance they'll read it and say, I don't want to eat an animal. So if the parent's not prepared to do that, because I think innately in all of us, we are born vegans. That's my personal belief. If you explain to a child you're eating an animal, like that nugget is actually from a chicken that you read about and you love, or you're eating that sausage as pig, yes, the same as Pepper and George pig, or that, no child in its right mind is going to say, great, I'll eat the animal. And you can see it with babies that have done experiments. You put a baby, a 2-year-old, in a closed area with a chick and an apple, and come back after half an hour, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. He'll be eating the apple and playing with the chick. If you put a cat in that environment, which is a carnivore, they would have eaten the chick and be playing with the apple. And that's the difference. We are not, our teeth aren't designed for that, our intestines aren't designed for that, our hands or speed. There's nothing about us that was designed to go out and hunt and eat raw flesh, even cooked flesh, and it's just not in us. So if your child has the tendency and says, I don't like the taste of that, I don't want to eat that, I don't like the idea of eating that, let them do it. Give them that autonomy. You have to understand yourself as adults. We were brought up by adults who were also brought up to believe that we had to do that, that we had to eat protein. But way back when, especially in the Mediterranean, but from any culture, people were predominantly plant-based. And they had their meat, they slaughtered their pig for, I don't know, a wedding, and they had they got their chicken and killed it once a month and had that on a Sunday. But they predominantly ate
It was rare to have meat.
Yeah.
It was rare because it was really expensive as well, and they couldn't find it. So it was actually really rare for them to have meat. It was usually, pulses and beans and
which is the
mixed
healthiest
vegetables.
form of protein. And unfortunately, in the last 3-4 decades, we've got this massive myth that's come out about protein, bodybuilding, protein, we must eat protein. You cannot be protein deficient on any diet, but let's talk about the plant-based diet. You cannot be protein deficient. There are no protein deficient wards in a hospital. Think about it, you've never met anyone protein deficient, but you have met someone who was B12 deficient or vitamin D deficient or iron deficient. Yes, these things, yes, but not protein. So if you eat a varied diet, as long as you're not living on Coca-Cola and Pringles, you're going to have your protein, but you've got to make sure you have your other sources of minerals and vitamins. And if you have a varied diet, you will be getting that. Your children can be completely healthy eating a plant-based diet and be confident in giving them more. There's no point saying that. I mean, I've been around when people have said, oh, but your kids, sure they're getting all their nutrients? And then they're like, just a minute, 1 minute, how many nuggets did you eat? What? Only 3? No, have a fourth before we leave. I mean, that is absolute rubbish. There is no nutritional value in that for your children. So allow your children. I mean, my kids love salad. Like, let them eat the salad. Like, they'll be fine even if they only eat that. Let them have their beans. Let them not eat the meat. They're going to crave something else and go for it. You know, as long as you're not plugging them with junk, they will find the food that their body needs. And just give them an array of food. That the golden rule is to have a variety of 30 different types a week. So the 5 a day is something of the past. Go for 30 different every week. And I'm shocked at how many, and I've had clients and I have friends, and I've said this in my talks about 30, and people go, wow, that's a lot. And I'm like, wow, I can eat 30 in a meal. Like, it's easy. Like, first of all, like, even herbal teas, you know, have different nutrients in. You can put seeds on things. You can eat your nuts as long as you're not allergic, which are amazing sources of omegas and protein. You can have whole grain breads. You can swap out white pasta for whole grain. You have your, you know, amazing grains like quinoa and buckwheat and wild rice, and kids, they love it. And when I give them whole grain pasta, they don't even know the difference. You know, it's delicious. You can put different herbs in food, and that all counts towards your 30.
One tip that you gave at the presentation that I saw you do was, I think it works amazing for children, is to eat the rainbow.
Yeah.
And to tell, because it's applicable to children, it's very relatable to children.
Mm-hmm.
That on your eat the rainbow, like try and find as many colors on your plate, and then you make it more fun for the children if you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about eating a rainbow. And
Yeah. And
there's
they love it.
many
They'll have
different things.
blueberries. Yeah. We had lots of fun in both of my children's books. They've got smoothies at the end. One of them is called Earth Juice, and it's not a juice, it's a smoothie, but my son insisted that it was a juice. And the other one is Planets. And the reason, was, I think I remember he said, because all the things we chose were something to do with the earth. So it was round, or there was the blue for the sea, or there was the green for the mountains, or there was a whole story when we created this. And he got so excited making this juice, and it's amazing that they drink it. I mean, not that one is delicious, but we've made others that I'm like, oh, I don't know if that orange went with I don't know what we put in. And but they love it because they created it. You know, we put the flaxseed in as well. I mean, flaxseed, you can put ground flaxseed in everything, whether it's a curry, a cake or muffins, cereal,
I do that with
making
chia
bread.
seeds.
Chia
I
seeds,
put
they're
chia seeds in
amazing.
everything.
They're good, but you do need to soak them before, have it in mind, or leave them a bit so
Oh,
you
really? I
absorb
just
them.
throw them in.
No, it's
I
better
throw them in
to have
anything.
them soaked. They're amazing, but try and soak them even for ideally overnight. But when then they become gloopy. And flax seeds, they're amazing, but most of it's going to pass through you. Nature packed them so well. So if you have them ground, then it's all readily available. And flaxseed is the number one for the omegas, and it's super healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So, but also chia seeds are great. So put in whatever you like. I mean, it will make it work. And then, so there's so many ways. But if you have fun with kids, like making, actually enjoying the process, get them to help. Give them kids knife. You're not going to give them a thing, or tell them to grate something, or tell them to be around, or just stir. Obviously not in the oven, but stir something. They will love it. They'll enjoy it. Tell them to throw in the herbs and have fun. Then they'll really start to enjoy food and appreciate it. And you'll be surprised what they'll eat after making it. They'll be like, I made this, and then they want to eat it.
Yeah.
So it's just have fun with children, be inclusive with them. And also the other thing parents don't do, and then they wonder why their kids are fussy, is they don't eat at the same time as their kids. And I see it so much. I see it at the hotel. I see it, with nutrition clients I might have. I see it just all around, friends. And they're like, oh, I don't know why my kid doesn't eat. And then, eventually I'll be like, what time do you eat? Oh, no, I eat a sandwich before I pick them up, or I eat later with my husband. And I'm like, so where do your kids eat? Okay, on a table in front of TV, but are you not eating with them? No. And I'm like, well, how do you want them? I love broccoli. They don't like it. Well, have they ever seen you actually physically eat it? Because the one thing, even if they say they don't like it, the more you just ignore it and just eat. And even if they don't like something, try again after a couple of weeks, try again after a couple of months. Like that they'll, I mean, my son taught me to love cauliflower because I think cauliflower's had like the biggest comeback, you know,
Love
more than
cauliflower.
any musician in the world. Like cauliflower was like just this dated thing that you'd have like boiled and gross. I just remember from school food. And it's now
Love
can be
it.
made into cauliflower rice, cauliflower steaks, baked cauliflower, cauliflower stew, cauliflower curry. It's just amazing, amazing. There's so many things with cauliflower. You can even have cauliflower muffins. And it's just delicious. So I've learned from them. So if you get, just grab things every time they're different, even push yourself to get different fruit and veg, and then just put that on the table and just all enjoy it. And don't make it a thing, like just eat and enjoy.
Exactly. Just don't make it a big deal and just kind of
No,
have it as your
yeah.
day.
And
I love
invariably,
it.
I mean, just like adults, we all have, don't we? I mean, if you and I sat to eat, you'd prefer one thing, I'd prefer another.
Yeah,
Embrace each other's individuality, so it's good.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean that I really hope, because this is the passion that I saw in what I've seen in you always, and I really hope that somebody sees this episode and is inspired as much as I was, because that passion just comes out of you and it makes you like pumps you up to go and do
I can
better.
do it. I'm gonna go and eat that
That's
apple.
re-
Yeah.
No,
So
I
do it.
really appreciate it, and I really hope, because yeah, when it comes to children, we also need to think about this side of things. It's not just about the schools or the clubs. It's also about what we're putting into their bodies,
Or
what's going through them, what we're putting into their minds about themselves, being healthy. I love that you mentioned that it's just about teaching them to live a healthy lifestyle. It's not even about, veganism. It's just about be healthy, 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 and
and I
educating
tell my
ourselves on
kids
what
the
healthy
difference.
means.
Yeah, yeah. I tell and they know because they'll be like, "Oh, mommy, this is vegan." I'm like, "But is it healthy?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah." To know
Exactly.
that that's yeah,
Exactly. That it doesn't, yeah, that's I think that's
yeah.
one thing that it's just about educating ourselves as parents on what it means to be healthy.
And lots of love, lots of kindness. And you want your kids to be kind. If they say, don't lie to them and say, "Oh, that's I don't know what." I mean, like, okay, I think that's why a lot of meat is called that pork, beef. It's not referred to as what it really is.
You call
What
it
it
the
says if,
animal, nobody would eat it.
yeah,
You said that's a
but say,
pig.
yes, it is. And if they don't want to eat it, don't force them. And also have the confidence, even for yourself, start with you as the parent.
Mhm.
Have that confidence to have some meals without animal products. Start with one meal a week, then go to 1 day a week. Have meatless Mondays and say, on Mondays, I don't eat meat. And if, okay, you went out and you invited, then do it on Tuesday. Start slowly, and then it will be 2 days a week. And slowly you'll feel better. You'll be like, oh, on that day, I did eat more fiber. 97% of Americans don't eat the daily required amount of fiber. I mean, can you imagine that figure? No one's protein deficient, but they are fiber deficient. So
Yeah.
make sure you increase your fiber. People will be like, wow, I went to the toilet okay. I feel great. I've got energy. My brain works. I didn't have memory loss. All these things that we're experiencing now and hearing more and more about. Even period pains. You eat soya beans every day. Drink your soya milk. Eat edamame. Have your tofu. My kids love tofu. You'll be, so much healthier. So just enjoy. Be confident that you're not going to starve. You're not going to become mineral deficient. Actually, you will become healthier and you will see the difference. And it's good for your kids to know that. So, yeah. And just stay away from processed food as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So, Farah, thank you so much for
Thank
sharing not only your
you.
knowledge, but your passion. You're incredibly inspiring. And I really hope that you've managed to help the people listening as much as you've helped me.
Oh, thank you
So,
so much.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for taking the time to join us today. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And we will see you again soon. Bye
Thank
for
you.
now.
Bye.